Hank FM.
WLGC, Greenup, Ashland, Ironton.
105.7 Hank FM WLGC and the Total Media Sports Network
Presents the Boyd County Lions Coaches Show.
a weekly look at Boyd County High School athletics. Live
From 105.7 Hank FM, Kool TV Studios.
Here's the voice of the Boyd County Lions, Greg Preston.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Boyd County Coaches Show here tonight. We are live from the Boyd County Athletic Complex, and I've got a lot of feedback right here. But we're live from the Boyd County Athletic Complex, and it's homecoming here for Boyd County. And we'll have Boyd County head coach Evan Ferguson here in a minute. Right now, we got the one that makes all this homecoming go, though, and Megan Nolan. And Megan, first of all, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And you do a lot of things. I'll go ahead and say it right now. You do everything that makes this thing roll. What all do you have to do?
For the homecoming, we vote for court. We put the parade on. Powder puff, dress up days. Anything the kids want to happen for their homecoming, I make it happen.
Yep. So what does your week look like, especially with it being a split week? We had the homecoming part of it on Friday when the kids went out on the field. And now this week we've got the homecoming parade we just got finished with. And we've got the homecoming dance coming up this Saturday. So it's been a full 2 weeks for you.
Yes, it's been different. At first, I wasn't sure how we were going to make it happen, but we did. We just got a group of us together and laid out a plan. We went ahead and did the game like normal, voted like normal, did all those things, and then planned the parade. We just flipped it. We did it backwards this year.
And, special thanks to James Collier here for getting us on Kool TV here tonight, along with us being on 105.7 FM WLGC. And, I'll tell you what, from Friday night, Ethan Raridan and Bonnie Smith got named King and Queen, two great kids.
Yes, they are really good kids. Ethan is actually our senior class president.
And I'll tell you what, I've had him in the classroom, and he's really good. Bonnie as well. I've had them both, and just quality kids.
Yes, they are.
So do you, I'm assuming, have to show up to the dance Saturday as well?
For a little bit. Most of that is done by our quarterback club. They take care of the decorating and all that. I'm just behind the scenes and all the things school-related.
Behind the scenes, and now you're in front of the scenes here.
It's first time for this.
Anybody you want to say hello to?
Hello to my family and my kids, because I think they're watching. And let's go Lions.
Okay, thank you, Megan. That's Megan Nolan here at Boyd County. She runs all the homecoming stuff and everything. We're going to get Ferg over here in just a second as soon as he turns around. His Boyd County Lions won the homecoming game 49-0 over Fairview last Thursday evening. And we'll get him over here parade. We've got the county fair going on with all kinds of food and everything out here in the parking lot. Then we've got a powder puff game coming up here. So, Coach, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who you picking in the powder puff game? Now, let me ask you this.
Central, and we have to be locked in as much as we can. And, sometimes it's probably good Central, and we have to be locked in as much as we can. And, sometimes it's probably good in a way that we can have other things to think about because they're just kids. It's let me worry about it from, day in and day out and think about all the things we can do. But let the guys just go play and do their job. And if they do that, we'll be A-okay.
And today we're going to be able to field some questions. We got Ian Wilburn over here. He's going to take some questions and text them to us from people. We've already got one, but we'll wait till a little bit later on to do that stuff. Last couple weeks, your offense has been going well all year, but the last 2 weeks your defense has really stepped up.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that. I think they've heard it enough from me. Heck, if you all have been listening, you've heard it from me on here. We talked a lot about stopping the run the last couple weeks, and we did a really good job of doing that for 2 weeks in a row, stopping the run. Our defense has improved a lot in that sense. I think Blake Sexton's done a great job at linebacker. Our D-line's kind of picked up their intensity. Brody's been just been awesome all year playing Mike for us.
Yep.
Overall, though, it's just been a good week of us getting the job done, and I think that stopping the run is what we have to do to be a good football team year in and year out. We haven't really done that the last couple of years, and I guess the ultimate test will be this week. I mean, but we have to. Johnson Central's the ultimate running team in the state every year, so we have to lock in, and they make you play assignment football. They hit you so fast that you can't be guessing or thinking. You have to be going full speed ahead, and when you get that opportunity to make the play at yard, just those inches matter. They might be 4 inches outside. We get a hand on it. We really want to have our head across, but if we can get the job done of actually getting our head across and wrapping up and hanging on, it'll help us a long way.
And, Johnson Central, one of those teams like you talk about a run first is, similar, just not the same formations as East Carter, but they're a big play team. The offense is to chew clock up, but they have a lot of big plays.
Yeah, and I definitely don't – I'm not saying they can't make long, extended, drives of those 15-play drives that we had to deal with East Carter, and even Rock Hill had a couple of those on us. But they, as much as they are a run first, the wishbone formation, they're kind of made to go 4 yards in a cloud of dust. I mean, it was really frustrating, but had to do what's best. The safety of everybody. It was a really crazy weather day overall last year on that Friday. We'd have loved to play, but
health services in the pharmacy. Primary Plus also offers the COVID-19 vaccine. Primary Plus with locations in Ashland, Vanceburg, South Shore, Grayson, Tollsboro, Maysville, Flemingsburg, and now in Moorhead. Online, primaryplus.net.
No down payment? No problem. Here at KFB, we make homeownership easy with our no down payment home loan. To guide you every step of the way. Apply today and take the first step towards your dream home with no money down. Restrictions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. KFB, the better bank, located at Ashland, Catlettsburg, Louisa, Summit, and Wheelersburg. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
At Clark's Pump and Shop, we're not just a gas station, we're your neighbors.
We're the folks who support your child's sports teams, fuel your mornings with fresh ground coffee, and have a friendly staff that probably knows the name of your dog.
Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Tired of gas prices draining your wallet faster than your tank?
Download the Clark's Pump and Shop Rewards app. Earn discounts on gas, breakfast sandwiches, drinks, and more.
Fuel up, snack up, save up with Clark's Rewards. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Since 1932, we've been a proud part of Kentucky, dedicated to serving our members with integrity, respect, and a commitment to excellence. We believe that by working together, we can create a brighter future for everyone. Whether you're saving for a new home, planning for retirement, or starting your own business, we're here to help you every step of the way. So stop wishing and start doing. And let's build a financially successful future together.
That's Members Choice Credit Union, member NCUA.
You're back with all the action, all the pride. Boyd County Lions football on 105.7 WLGC.
And welcome back to the Boyd County Coaches Show. Greg Preston joined by Boyd County head coach Evan Ferguson. Coach, usually at this time we have a player segment, all the kids spread around doing a bunch of different things here today. And so you and I will talk a little bit about the players. How's that?
Sounds good. I think they're all having a good time getting ready for this powder puff.
Yep, they are. And, you take a look at some things, and thanks to Curtis Cry again, sending some stats in. But, you're starting to see some new names get into some career receiving stuff with Boyd County. Caleb Kelly's now climbing up the list, with getting up there with, within the top 5 or 6 of most pass receptions. Most yards receiving during a career. So, he's in the top 10 in that. Then you've got Thomas Crawford climbing up there in the most touchdown catches in a career, too. And those guys have been really important to you, the past couple of years, but especially this year.
Yeah, they've had a great career. That's why you start getting on career records. But they're doing a great job this year. Kind of they're leading the way on the team, and you can always just trust them to be steady hands out there. We know we can call something, and we talk about run the football, but a lot of times our short, quick pass game is an extension of our run game.
Yes.
And Kelly and Thomas and Cam May's having a great start to his career as a sophomore, but they're doing a good job there. And it's also good to see you pull that list up there. I'm looking at it. And Cole Hicks, set like all the records last couple of years, and that was in 2 years. In 2 years, that's just really impressive on what Cole was able to do. But seeing names like Josh Thornton and Trey Holbrook, other guys, and Garrett Crumb's name up there, guys that I've got to coach. It's really cool to see them, and there's a lot of guys who've had great careers here as well. That and Coach Jake Hughes is on this list,
yes.
Too. So it's really good to see that in the receiving category. But overall, it's just. Records are made to be broken.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's why we try to set them. And Curtis does a great job of keeping track of them year after year. And there's not I couldn't imagine having a better statistician across the state that does this detailed a record for us year in and year out that has done it for this long. And it's cool. We don't want to care much about stats and records, but it is good to see the kids who have had great careers and do great things be recognized and honored for what their accomplishments have been, because there's a lot of work that goes into each and every kid's season and success, and they put a lot of work in year round, and for a really short amount of time. It's great. We're already halfway through the year, right?
Yes.
Halfway through the regular season. This year and it's I thought we just blinked our eyes, and we're getting ready to go to week 6, and we'll blink our eyes again, and it's going to be getting ready to go for playoffs. So.
Yes.
It's going to be it's cool to see in short times what these guys can accomplish, and there's so much work that goes into it. So they get to play just for a short amount of time in their career and their life. So we hope it's always special for them, and we're glad they get to break these records and do things. And, Brody Castle at linebacker is doing a great job on tackles. I see that.
Yep. Before it's all over, he's probably going to end up with the most tackles in a game, which was set last year by Eric German.
Yeah, and that's really cool. And the year before that, it was set by Dakota Thompson.
Yeah.
And we actually have the one before that was Logan Staten, so it's really cool. 4 years in a row, basically, we've been able to, get those records set and broken, and it really shows the way the program's kind of getting risen. These kids are working hard, taking it to new heights. And then you look down at the kickers, and you got Leighton Henry, Maverick Boyd, and Ryan Cranks on this, Cole Thompson's on this. We got a lot of guys that's, the last 3-4 years of kickers are also on that. So it's good to see what we're doing going forward. And, I mean, the last couple of years set the school book. So, there's – set the rule book. I mean, the record book. Sorry, I got a little side. We're not on a live air now with the video, I don't think. I think we're just on the radio. But, yeah, that would have been a good first question live on air, right?
Yeah.
We'll just move on from that. I'll let you take back over the questions for a second, Coach.
And you mentioned Cole Hicks there just a moment ago, with what he's done. There's a lot of similarities between him and Caleb Kelly, especially in the leadership department.
Yeah, I think Cole really grew into that. I mean, just watching what he did in all of the sport, in basketball as well. He was a great leader for our program and our school, and just an overall great kid. Caleb, mirrors that in so many different ways. Just an outstanding young man who does things the right way. Always you can count on to work hard. Always is going to treat everyone at school equally. I mean, as all of our kids do, but just goes above and beyond on that. I mean, just a great kid overall, and it's fun to coach kids like that. That is their joy to be around, and you can tell he's been raised right by their parents.
Yep, no question about that. And, you take a look at this year defensively, and you spoke of Brody Castle there a minute ago as well. And, he already, we're 5 games through, has 14 tackles for loss. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
I hope he gets about 14 this week.
Yeah.
But no, that's pretty amazing. He's done a really good job, and he's kind of helping coach that linebacker spot a lot too. I mean, Coach McClellan and Coach Hughes do a good job there with the linebackers, but Brody's seen that experience, been there for years, and he's kind of holding the guy next to him to a high standard. We've had some different guys playing that spot. Caden Butler's given us some good reps there. Yep. Caden Thompson's given us a lot of good reps there. Yes. And Blake Sexton's kind of in there now, and Blake's doing a good job and kind of really helping as a sophomore, stepping up there. So, he'll have to carry that torch in the future. Right. We got 3 other seniors doing it in him. So we hope to continue to grow that and increase what we're doing with demanding a lot of – it's just a really demanding spot for our football team on defense. We talk a lot about on offense how much the quarterback – everything has to go through him in our offense. We ask so much on the reads, the decision-making. Well, the same goes on defense. We play a lot of spill technique with what we're doing on our defensive front. and our Sams, and kind of everything spilled to our Mike and our Sams. And if we don't do a good job of fitting that, we don't have a guy that can make that play and make that tackle, our defense isn't very good, plain and simple. So schematically, we have to change a lot of what we do, but he does a good job of kind of living up to that standard of what our Mike should be, and he's doing a great job of it.
And, you know, another guy's name that we seem to keep calling this year, which, you know, that's come out of the, you know, of not much playing time before now, is Caden Nottingham.
Well, yeah, I mean, Caden Nottingham is, you know, he came out as freshman year and kind of decided to come back out this year. And, you know, I'd like to take credit for developing the last 4 years, but in all reality, Caden Nottingham has just done a great job on his own. And for what he's done, I can't ask for much more. The kid gives you all he's got. Sometimes gets dinged up and just wants to go right back out there and just has to shake it off for a play or two. And he's just a very tough and really a good kid that, you know, I really think he has a bright future ahead of him. He's a great wrestler, has an opportunity to wrestle some places next year.
Right.
Coach McClellan's done a great job with the wrestling program here and that. So we really hope to see what, you know, these kids can do the rest of this year, but also in their future. We don't want to just set them up and just be done here. We want to make sure they can go on and be set up for life.
And, you know, I mean, your kids have they played phenomenally well this year, and for being halfway through the season, we're pretty fortunate that we've not been banged up more than what we are.
I mean, you're going to naturally be banged up a little bit at this point in the year, and we have a couple of those things, and there'll be some questionable on how much some people are going to play and stuff this week, as there honestly is every week. But as far as I'm concerned, we're healthy. You know, we have to always imagine we're healthy and ready to go get the job done, and that's where we're at right now. And maybe some guys are going to have a little bit more added to their plate this week. Maybe some guys have a little bit less to their plate. So this is a big week for us, and it's district play, so it's time to go get a win.
And, you know, you spoke a little bit about practice today, and, you know, offense today, defense tomorrow, and, you know, then everything's in the oven and ready to play on Friday.
Yeah, and, you know, it's really hard. I'm actually glad we got the game with, you know, Fairview last week that, you know, they decided to run some wishbone, and it gave us a little bit of a look at it. And I thought we did a good job last week, and we know Johnson Central, though, they're everybody else, you know, they're the experts at it. They're the Jedi master, per se, of, you know, running the wishbone, and they're the best at it, and they're going to continue to be the best at it. So it's, well, we got some game reps at it last week. We're going to have a whole other animal with Johnson Central this week, and we know that, and it's really hard to replicate what they do in practice. You can try to do some half lines, some different tactics. We mix it up every year on it. But really, it's going to come down to our mentality of what we want to do, of how physical and how aggressive we're going to be getting through. And we can't sit there and chicken fight and play ball so they go too fast with it. So we got to go and make the plays on the ball carrier and get them down when we can.
Yep, and, you know, last week you played on Thursday. 1 day difference. Does that make any difference in what you do?
No, I don't think it does. I mean, we was able to, you know, obviously could see what they did last week a little bit easier, you know, with having the Friday off to go watch some things and see what's going on. But I think it was probably good. It wasn't a bye week, but it's kind of like a NFL team playing on Thursday or something like that. Kind of get that extended, you know, maybe a short week one day, we get that little bit longer break. So our kids got to have a little bit of chance to have the weekend off. I know my wife enjoyed enjoyed being home, getting to see my little girl and Haley at home, my wife, and it was really good getting to have that time off. To actually get a little rested up, and I didn't really do much anything but sleep and watch some film. So
and that's a good thing.
Yeah. So I don't mind weekends like that, but we'll definitely. I think that was good. It definitely wasn't a bye week, but it was kind of the closest we have to getting some time off on the weekends. Because by the time I get home on a Friday night, it's usually 2 a.m. at the earliest, and then you wake up tired on Saturday, and then Sunday you're not working on Saturday, and then Sunday you're back to here. So it was nice to actually have a true Saturday this week.
And, you know, hopefully that extra day makes a little difference in kids being under the weather.
Oh, yeah, I hope so. I mean, there's always something going on, but it does gives a kid another day of rest. And we had a JV game scheduled last night too, and then had to reschedule, get another game scheduled, and then with the weather it got canceled. Yeah. So we got to do a little bit of, you know, red and white kind of style open scrimmage with our guys last night, but it still stayed relatively fresh without getting too live, heavy contact. So it was good to let our guys, everybody should be pretty fresh and hungry for Friday night.
Yep, let's go ahead, step out, and take another break. And when we come back, we'll field some questions for you, Coach. Back after this on 105.7 FM WLGC.
Representative, we have Flo Hicks and Braylon Montez. And then we have Kinsey Coos and Colton White. our sophomore representatives, we have Addison Angos and Jacob Wilson. And then we have Heidi Markham and Bryson Rousey. And now we have Elin Simpkins and Boston Worker. For our junior representatives, we have Malia Allen and Connor Davis. We have Olivia Lade and Carter Gray.
And 105.7 FM WLGC for the Boyd County Coaches Show. Just starting to get some questions in. May only have a few here tonight, but we got a couple good ones for us here, Coach. How you like this one? Jim Bob from Red Fox, Kentucky wants to know, what's it like traveling to the mountains to get ready for a tough district opponent?
It's Johnson Central's a great program, and we've been on the road a lot this year. We've already had 3 road games, so it's definitely an interesting trip every time with our bus situation right now, trying to get out here on time. But no, we'll go down and I think our kids will get a team meal after school, and we'll go down and play a good, hard-fought football team that's ready to go, that just has a lot of tradition. And I think Johnson Central puts on a great show whenever you go down there every year. And it's the biggest show in town in Paintsville, no doubt about it. And it's kind of what football's supposed to be about on Friday night. And I think they do a good job of kind of creating energy. And I think our kids can either rise up and feed off that energy, or we can sit back and be intimidated by it. And I think we've been down there enough now, and I think our kids are starting to get. I'd hope to say, I don't want to speak on this, but I think our kids should be excited and really want to live and play in those big environments, because that's really what you play for and what you look forward to every year.
And another question we've got here is, what do you do to prepare your O-line to face the Giants down in Paintsville?
We got to make sure we do a good job of, Coach Adams does a good job with our line. They're really improving as the years went. They've really gotten a long way from week 1 to now. And really, if you go back and watch our first scrimmage to now, it's really good to see what we're improving and getting better at. I think, we want to make sure we do our gap scheme, have to pass over people, and looking forward to it this week. Johnson Central does such a great job of kind of putting pressure on the passer and stopping the run game, because they send so much pressure, play so much man outside. And I think we have to do a good job of kind of schematically protecting what we're going to do on the pass game and the run game, and let the RPOs do what they need to do, let the formations and different motions. We have to make sure we control and put ourselves in conducive spots to make sure our guys are able to be successful. And,
you're talking to the offensive line right there. From game 1 through now, they've really gotten a lot better.
And they really have. I think, we had to kind of just find our niche and find, had to move a couple people around, but really we just had to work on getting better at some small things. That's really what football is. It's just small things about how we're going to, move our feet the right way. What's our head and hand placement going to be like, and understand that what it's going to look like on a Friday night. And no matter what you see in scout, it's never exactly the same. I think our scout guys do a great job. Coach Davis does a great job with our scout defense, getting it ready to roll. And but you just can't replicate until you get to Friday night. And once you get more and more game reps, you get to see it on film and start to understand what you're trying to do and see. It just helps us on our success. And I think you can see that with our run game. Our totals have increased almost every single week.
Yes, no doubt about that. Jaden from Ashland wants to know, what's your favorite part of coaching?
Favorite part of coaching, that's difficult. I mean, honestly, what we just talked about is one of them. Seeing the guys grow as players throughout the year and get better from week 1 to week 10 and beyond that, it's really good to see a kid that comes out as a freshman that, works and grows and develops and ends up becoming a really good player by the time he graduates. I don't want to sound too much like an old man right here, but it's also really good to see the kids you have coached come back to you after they have graduated, after they've been out in the world for a little bit. And it's good to see them come back and say positive things and, talk about the memories they have. And some of a couple of them come back and talked about the lessons they've learned. And, you don't really get those feedback. You don't usually get somebody to say that to you. But whenever you've had somebody say that, that's why we do it, is as much as I'd like to be the, sit back and play the chess match and call the plays and that's arguably the fun part of coaching, but the most meaningful and kind of most appreciative part of coaching I have is hopefully developing young men and letting them learn some life lessons along the way.
And, another fun part of the coaching is, sometimes you see guys younger and you think, I don't know if they'll ever be able to help us. Then they turned out being pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we had this guy on the show the other day. I mean, talk about a guy that, not saying he wasn't very good, but he was so inexperienced and had not really played much football at all in his life. And, Ian Branham came out as a freshman, and I, didn't expect him to be what he was. And he just fell in love with the weight room, fell in love with the process of getting better. And to see him go and have, right now he's, last two games he's had a touchdown reception and just playing really good football. And a guy who just does the right thing. You never have to deal with anything with him. Discipline, does a great job in the classroom at school. Seeing a kid like that succeed is, what you want. Kids who, we say hard work works when they actually put the work in and the effort, and they, kind of stay true to what the process or the program is trying to preach. When they do that and have success, it just means a lot.
And, speaking of Ian Branham, he's the type of kid, too, that you love just for the fact that, once he leaves here, you don't have to worry about him.
Right. I mean,
and we've all had those.
Yeah. I mean, we always, say the guys, you can come back and, you're always welcome, and we always mean that. But it's good to see the guys that, he's talked about what he's going to do in the future. Whether he decides to play college football or not depends on the offer, if it fits what he's trying to do going down the road. But, he has a plan, what he's going to do for his job and for his career one day, no matter what. And, he looks at football as a bonus, and he loves it and plays it like a lifestyle in high school. And guys like that are kind of, they're kind of few and far between these days. A lot of times people are all about offers and things like that. But for a guy just to be all about the playing high school football with his buddies and trying to enjoy every second of it.
Right.
I don't mean to be talking too much about Ian, but he's a pretty fun one to coach.
I guarantee you that. We take a look at the scoreboard here. This Powder Puff game, 11th grade right now. Already 14 points up on the board. You sure you're not coaching those girls?
No, I have nothing to do with it. I think our quarterback's out there. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he's figuring out the playbook finally. We talked about in development. He's getting it figured out there. But no, it's that's my biology students, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Those 11th grade
Hey, another question. Someone says it's from Spurlock. Who's the best player that you've matched up against in your coaching career? That's a pretty good question. That's pretty broad, too.
Yeah, I mean, the list is, kind of gets pretty long. I think I'll just shorten down to my head coaching career. One of the first names that pops out to me in my mind was actually when I was at Cold Grove. I feel like Keegan Wilburn, the running back for Nelsonville, York, ended up having a really good career at OU for the Bobcats, and was a really good player in the MAC and had a great career playing college football. And he was a really hard one to stop. We played him in the regional championship game back in 2017. Talon Pollock was another one of those guys. It was Talon Parker. Did that for him over there at Portsmouth. Had a great career. Then there's been several players the last couple of years. Actually, let me just take a minute here and think about all the great ones. But you could. Last year there was a lot of great players. Just overall, I think Daniel Thomas at Bell County had a great. I think we made him the Mr. Football Award winner because of what he did to us. And I was a little disappointed in what happened until I realized he did it to everyone they played with the
pretty good,
entire year. And it was I always said I'll never let that happen again. As far as somebody running over us like that, whenever you see the success and how talented he was. Week in and week out, that's just an impressive performance from a guy like that, and he was a really special football player. But I don't want to. I guess I'm shorting a lot of people because that list could go on and on. There's, but there's just a lot of talented players in our area. But I just think the Wilburn kid pops up to me as first one because he really was. I know it's not from Boyd County, but that was one of the best ones I've coached against.
Another question for you that we got here is, how do you prepare for a run-heavy offense in Johnson Central?
Like we just talked about it, how it's a little bit different this week because it's a different fit than if you're trying to work on how we're going to fit like a power or counter scheme or how you're going to fit a zone blocking scheme or, stretch like most of the spread offenses are these days. And even then, it's not necessarily an old wing tee where you're pulling guards every play and things like that. With the wishbone, this style of run-heavy offense, it's a lot about being gap sound and being assignment sound because they'll double dive it. They'll ride the belly and you have to make sure. Sometimes we do some half line to make sure we're fitting our gaps the right way. We'll kind of work on a little bit of tackling drills with that as well. But we want to make sure that a lot of that comes down to film. I think, I think we really look a lot of this into film week. And while they do what they do, they only do so many things. They actually do quite a few different variances of their run scheme. They'll actually go and, just a different, if they're going to blast the scheme, gap it down, or if they're going to run their true dive and belly and ISO scheme, or if they're going to run toss, or how they're going to run what's their fake going to be like. Because they do a great job, at least in Johnson Central, of, it's hard. You can't say you're going to key backs because you'll get some false keys sometimes. You can't. It's really hard to lock into keying guards against them because they do such a good job of just going right at you, and sometimes the guards are just going so fast you're not going to get a key off of them either way. So a lot of this we try to base it on is kind of tendencies and formation tendencies, down and distance tendencies, as well as just feel of the game. And, we're trying to yell at it. So we want to have to make sure we're prepared to have a couple different fronts ready to roll. We want to make sure that we're not stagnant because they're too good to where if you try to say the same thing the whole time, they're going to find out a way to beat you. A couple of years ago, we did a really good job for a while, and then finally they just overpowered us and did a good job. So we want to make sure that we keep it, keep it mixed up, but we don't want to change who we are. If we try to change what we do overall, then our kids aren't going to play it very fast or very physical, and that's definitely a recipe for disaster. So that's a good question. I mean, with the run fits, we want to try to get definitely some live scout looks on it, and we'll do that. But it's going to be a lot about alignment and knowing sometimes how they might have a guy shaded a little bit more inside, their backs of their lineup. You can kind of tell a little bit of variation. You can see that, and I think it's something that the guys can see too, that we want to make sure we try to pick up on those things. And, really it'll come down to just the keys that we have given and trusted. We want to make sure we follow those and execute that on Friday night.
And, you and I talked a little bit at school today about formations, and really, at least from what I've watched, I've seen the double wing. I've seen the whip. But
this was quick because they can break the huddle quick and they get lined up. This was quick because they can break the huddle quick and they get lined up. If our linebackers aren't making sure our D-line's set how we need to be, then we can kind of get out leveraged quickly. Yep. We want to make sure we never get out leveraged. And if we're out leveraged and we didn't line up right. And I think lining up right is one of the most underrated really skills in football. I mean, and honestly, not trying to throw shade at anybody, but watching college football and seeing how often teams line up incorrectly and are just out leveraged by alignment. It's really astonishing to me that there's a lot of NIL money. There's a lot of coaching money to how we don't line up right is beyond me. And even some teams I might root for, I'm like, why are we not lined up right? Now, obviously, we've been lined up wrong a time or two before, so it happens to everybody. But I'd like to think that there's really no excuse for that ever. We got to make sure that's something, your guys in the box up there, the coaches are making sure we're all in the same game plan. We know the call. We know how we should line up. We know how we got to adjust to it. If we're not getting adjusted to those scenarios, that's whenever you see those defensive timeouts come out of nowhere. Right. Because we can't go because we didn't line up right, give a big play. Now, if they happen to make a big play, we miss tackles. We can't let that happen. But that's sometimes just football. Kids are going to make plays. We're going to make some plays but better than them. They're going to make plays better than us sometimes, So that's how sports go in general. But, as coaches, we have to make sure we're prepared and we have them all lined up correctly. And we don't want to burn timeouts doing that, but that's where we can't make those mistakes as a staff and as a program. We got to make sure we're always lined up right.
And, Jason sent in a question, about locking the gates for 4 weeks or for 4 quarters this week. We'll talk about that when we come back and talk about Johnson Central. Back after this on Kool TV and 105.7 FM WLGC.
If you can picture yourself in a better job and a better life, there are thousands of openings in Kentucky.
Now we have the girls' And now we have the girls' basketball team with
back now at the Boyd County Coaches Show live here on Kool TV and on 105.7 FM WLGC from the Boyd County Athletic Complex. Great to have you along here. Coach, you know, we got one more question I got to ask because it's really a pretty good one. You know, as a coach, when you have your first kid, it is certainly different. And Chauncey wants to know, how has it been different this season, juggling being a dad and a coach?
That is a good question. It has been, it's definitely been a different year in that sense. I don't want to say my priorities have fully changed because I still care a lot about making sure we win every Friday night. And, you know, I feel like I've always tried to treat these kids like they're my own. And I told the parents that in our first parent meeting. I said, guys, I used to always say, I love you guys. I love your kids like they're my own. And then I had my own.
Yeah.
And I might have been a liar the whole time. But in all reality, I still do love these kids. Obviously, my little girl's the most amazing thing in the world to me right now, and I truly mean that. And it's cliche, but I could not do this without my wife. Haley's done absolutely just taken so much of the load and the burden off me. I just feel like I'm gonna owe her a lot here. Hopefully not until December, but she's done so much to try and take the weight of, you know, all the times wake up in the middle of the night right now and those things like that. I just I can't say enough for what my wife's done there, and she's been great. And honestly, I've got probably the best little girl in the history of the entire world, I would say too, and she makes it pretty easy as well. But no, it's been a joy, and I think that it's kind of given me a little bit of priorities of, you know, understand the patience it takes, you know, sometimes with, you know, my own child, my family, and this football family here too, is, you know, we got to make sure that we only want the best for our kids, and these parents just want to see the best for their kids. And I think that, you know, I've, you know, kind of seen how much that love I have. I want to make sure these kids have the opportunities to, you know, all have the chance to be successful. They all have the opportunity to be treated equally, and we always do that. But it just kind of makes you take a little bit of a look from the outside in. Sometimes I try to do that and make sure that we're doing the best we can as a program with all of our students and all of our players, because they're you know, I couldn't imagine right now being a parent and trusting, you know, somebody with with mine. So I think, you know, it's changed that for me. But I mean, the hardest part has been you know, not getting to see her a lot right now, and it's you know, last night because the JV game was canceled, I got to see her early. But, you know, a lot of times I don't get to see her except for Wednesday nights when she's awake, and then again a little bit then on Saturdays and then Sundays. But it's been I definitely don't want to wish the season away, but I definitely would like to find a way to balance my time a little bit better. But with her sleep schedule, I know one thing: I'm not going to wake a sleeping baby. When she's asleep, we're going to let her do her thing, and I'll see her when she wakes up. But I'll get home and hopefully see her tonight. But I have a feeling she'll be conked out long before I get home.
And you know, you're talking about wives and everything. I know, you know, a lot of times, you know, other parents will come up and say, "Coach, you've done a great job raising your kid." I say, "Well, my wife did. I was here coaching." I mean, that's how important they are. Wives are extremely important in the role of coaching.
They really are. I mean, you could say, like, "Oh, she's the greatest assistant coach I have." I'd almost say she's co-head coach, right?
Yes,
you know, she's along the way with everything she does, and I'm just thankful to have her, and I'm really thankful and blessed to have the family I have. And honestly, my parents and her parents, they do a great job trying to help too, because, you know, my wife is an attorney, she's working and doing some things, so she's kind of got back to work the last couple of weeks, and so it definitely keeps her busy. So it's definitely a changing time, but it's a joy, and we're excited to kind of keep growing. And I know I'll blink and it'll be gone before I know it. So trying to take every moment I can in.
And, you know, now we're going to talk a little bit more about Johnson Central. And back to the question from Jason here. You know, Johnson Central's got 3 pretty good running backs. So it's going to be hard to contain that for 4 quarters.
Just 3?
Yeah, well, 3, yeah, just 3.
Last I checked, they have more than that. But no, no, they're a great football team. I think, you know, hats off to Coach Peck for filling in the shoes of a legend, Coach Matney.
Yep.
And that's way harder, you know, than it is, you know, than it could be just said and done. You know, that's a legend like that. You have the respect of the entire community and team. You know, it's really the state. You know, everybody respected Coach Matney, and for him to come in there and continue that success, and I think they have a really good football team this year, and have kind of increased it a little bit. So I definitely think we're looking at Johnson Central. You're going to play a team that lives and breathes high school football, and those kids are going to be ready to play and go get after it. So we hope our guys are ready for the challenge, and they will go and they'll run the football. And the thing is, we always got to watch. We gave up the 40-yard bomb a couple times when we played before. When they're going to take their shot,
Yes.
we don't want to give it up. And it's so hard when you're selling out for the run to not get beat deep. And the quarterback does a great job every year pulling it going around the edge. So, you're selling out on everything, and he does a great job of keeping it. And they do a great job taking a shot every now and then as well. So they do a good job of keeping you honest. And a team like that might not throw it a lot, but they throw it usually for a touchdown or for a big game.
And, talking about not throwing it a lot, they've only thrown the ball 10 times all year. And, usually when they do, they're pretty effective with it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that, it's like, well, it's only 10 times, Coach. But, I mean, if they only throw it 2 times a game on that average, but they complete them. And they're usually for about 30 to 40 yards a crack. So that's really not the ratio we want to live on of giving up 80 yards passing to a team like that. We got to make sure that we can take. That was a crazy play.
That was a crazy play.
But it was. They're going to come after us and be ready to play. And their pass game is something that you don't want to think about, but it's something you still have to take and be locked in on. Your secondary has to be so disciplined, and it's. We're asking a lot out of those safeties.
Yes.
We're wanting them to fit the run. We're wanting our corners to fit the run. We're wanting us all to fit the run hard. And then everybody in the stadium is going to yell at them when they get beat deep. And we're all going to think it's crazy. Well, I've been back there as that safety trying to fill the run. And sometimes you're like, oh, my goodness, here he goes right by me, because they've ran it for the 5,000th time in a row. And if I don't fit it and I'm having to make a lot of tackles, it kind of makes you creep up. So that's something as a coach you try to remember. And whenever you see your safety make 2 or 3 in a row, you might want to give him a heads up, say, hey, you had to come up and make some tackles, be ready for that shot over top. So that's just something that's really, you got to have a feel for it, kind of feel how they're going to call the game, when do they like to call their passes. And they do have some tendencies with it, but, I mean, tendencies are made to be broken too, so we can't live and down, statistics there. So we got to make sure we're just ready to play and try to be fundamentally sound.
And, the one thing that you do know about playing Johnson Central is you're going to have to be able to score some points.
Yeah, I think while we want to, I mean, every game on defense, you want to keep them from scoring, obviously. We'd love to pitch another shutout this week, but I'm not ignorant to believe that that's going to be expected to happen. I think they're just a really good they're going to find a way to score. And that's no slight to our defense. I think our guys have to remember to keep playing. We have to keep playing for 4 quarters, whether it's, the score is 35-35 or if it's, if it's 14-14.
Right.
The defensive intensity has to stay the same, because when you finally get that one stop, I believe, and I don't want to jinx ourselves, I think we can go score on them too. And, definitely don't want to look at it as the motto of how to beat them, but you look at, the Corbin motto last year. They beat them 56-51 and threw a lot of passes on them, kind of what we do a lot in a way.
Right.
And they had a lot of success doing that. And we want to make sure that, we don't want to give up no 51 points, but I'll be very happy to score 56. I'll tell you that much.
Sure.
But, if it takes 56-55, I'd be happy about it. But it's going to, you have to be ready to stay. If, I've heard a coach say before, one of the OCs is one of the most important jobs on the team. And you can say, well, the defense wins championships. And you're not wrong.
Right.
But with kids and their morale, if you're not continuing to score and continue to feel like you're on the attack, morale drops drastically.
Yes.
And especially if you're not scoring back in return. So if you can't score and they're going to score, that puts you behind the 8 ball in a lot of ways. And once your morale drops, then your chances of winning, win expectancy goes out the window.
Sure.
And we got to make sure morale stays high. And you're going to lean on your seniors to make sure it stays high as well. But we got to I like to go on the offensive with this thing. Let's go score right away, and let's go do what we can do. But, we got to be able to play 4 quarters no matter what happens and fight the whole time. And it can be there can be some ups and downs in the game. It's high school football. It's not going to be perfect, but we got to find a way to fight and overcome what happens at the end.
Yep, and, for as much as we love homecoming festivities and all that stuff, with it spread out over 2 weeks, it's got to be hard. But after tonight, you can focus back on football.
Yeah, after tonight, outside of, whatever else they can come up with, I think we're going to be, I know kids are, well, I'll go get my suit and stuff. I said, you'll find time to get it. But it's going to get after, the homecoming is special, and I just want to thank everybody for allowing it to happen, because, Healing Appalachia coming to town was a great thing for Boyd County, and I think a lot of people had a great time with that event this weekend. So we want to make sure that we got to have homecoming for 2 weeks in a row, and last I checked, that's a good positive thing.
Right.
You try to win on homecoming, right?
Absolutely,
So let's try to keep it going for 2 weeks.
And, what makes this game even a little bigger, and you've kind of hit on it already, but it's important to get a good start in district play for playoff seeding purposes.
Absolutely. I mean, you always say that every team has a goal to be a district title, to win the district championship every year. And we've talked before, and I've tried to put it off a lot this year on talking about how talented and how good our district is. But it's a very, very good district. And we get to start the season off, or start the district play off with the powerhouse, perennially in the district in Johnson Central. And what they do is just so different than everybody else we play. I mean, I know Fairview did this year, but it's still a different style than what we're used to, and you practice against every single day. So this is a huge game, and if you want to go 1-0, obviously in the district play, but it's hard to come back and win a district title if you go 0-1. It's just really hard to win a district losing a game and in a 5-team district with 4 games. So we got to make sure we capitalize on it, but we also can't give up on it because there's opportunities. We really just want to be one of those top 2 seeds to get that home game. And while we want to win that district title, if we get a home game, that's a huge moment for our program and a huge moment for Boyd County to get that. And we've had them a couple years ago, but we want to get another one. And I think a lot of guys have a goal of getting that home playoff game this year. And I honestly just want to make sure we're in the playoffs first. And once you're in the dance, anything can happen.
Yep. And, arguably, or at least in my opinion, in 4A football, top to bottom, this is quite arguably the best district, the toughest district.
I think top to bottom, it definitely is as far as quality from, like you said, from top to bottom. Now, you can look at our sister district and argue that Covington Catholic and Highlands are, that makes it a really good district.
It does.
Because, that's no slight to Mason and Harrison in that district either. But, we also go look at, Boyle's kind of in their district, and you've got Corbin kind of in their district, and Paducah's got theirs, and so forth. So it's and Franklin's kind of gotten there. So there's some good teams in those districts too. But I honestly don't know a whole lot about Western Kentucky football.
Correct.
We get it, but just talking about the East itself and its own it's enough challenges for us. And we're not going to look ahead to Greenup, but they had a really good game last week against Fleming County, and they beat us last year in a big game that really. That talk about the one that East Carter last year that hung with me. That one's hung with me a long time too about losing that one to Greenup last year. So our guys have got to get after it, and if we can find a way to get the confidence going of starting 1-0 in district play, it's going to really carry. Because not only is Johnson Central one of the best teams, if not the best team in our district, on paper, they're one of the best teams in the state.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not. And if you look at, we start rating it out in the top 10s and stuff like that. There's several teams RPI top 10. We had
MWLGC.
Middle school cheerleaders.
Temperatures are on the rise, and so is the bite, and Border Sporting Goods is your fishing headquarters for rods and reels from G. Loomis, St. Croix, Fenwick, Lewes, Shimano, Daiwa, and Abu Garcia. No matter what species of fish you are targeting, Borders has the perfect setup to make your next trip on the water a success. Borders has baits in every size and style with a wide selection of tackle from Berkeley, Strike King, Zoom, Z-Man, Bandit, and many more. Before hitting the water for your next fishing trip, stop by and stock up at Border Sporting Goods, US 60 West in Ashland.
If you can picture yourself in a better job and a better life, there are thousands of openings in Kentucky right now. And with the Work Ready Kentucky Scholarship, you can prepare for many of them tuition-free. Good at Ashland Community and Technical College. This scholarship offers 100% free tuition for classes that can prepare you for a great job in healthcare, advanced manufacturing, and more in as little as 13 weeks. Get started today at workreadykentucky.com.
And we're back to Boyd County Athletic Complex for a live version of the Boyd County Coaches Show. Before we go off here, we got to thank Dwayne back to the studio producing this, James Collier, Trey Collier on the Kool TV side producing that, Ian Wilburn fielding all the questions for us and helping get us on the air. And, Coach, Johnson Central on Friday, not a whole lot more to say.
Come on down to Paintsville and come watch the game, support the boys. If you're not, make sure you tune right here on 105.7, Hank FM, WOGC, whatever I'm supposed to say there. And but no, honestly, just appreciate what you do, Coach, on airing it. I think you're doing a great.
Everyone that's been involved, and Paintsville, not too long or too far of a trip, 23 South. Paintsville, not too long or too far of a trip, 23 South. It's an easy trip straight down.
Yeah, about an hour down. Let's go down there and get to work.
Now, how will that work Friday? Will you feed them here, then go, or will you stop somewhere? How will that work on the road here?
We'll feed at 3:35 p.m. up in the school. Get down here, get a little, get them packed up, and get on the road.
Yep. So that's what we got going on this weekend. Like I said, special thanks to everyone that's been involved in this broadcast, from Dwayne Fowler to James Collier to Trey Collier to Ian Wilburn to Coach Evan Ferguson. I'm Greg Preston. Good night and God bless.